So today's topic is a little bit personal for me, but I'm actually excited to share it with you all. Growing up, I had a lot of misconceptions about money. I thought that if I could just work hard and make lots of money, then it would take care of itself. And for a very long time, I struggled with my finances, and it wasn't until I hit rock bottom and found myself drowning in debts that I realized that I needed to change some money habits. And after a series of trial and error, I finally discovered the habits that were holding me down and then ways in which I could break free from this habit. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing the money habits that kept me broke for a very long time and the practical ways in which I overcame them. And I'm hoping that my journey could actually inspire someone to make a positive change in their financial life today. Impulsive spending is one habit that kept me really broke for a very long time. I could just wake up one morning and see something that I like, and the next minute I am buying it without really thinking of the possible consequences this will have on my financial well-being. And as we are all aware, spending on impulse can lead to overspending and even buying things that we don't necessarily need at a time. And before I could even realize, I was already struggling with my finances and then accumulating debt, of which can be easily avoided. I had to take a hard look at my spending habits and then make conscious efforts to keep it in check. So what I do basically now is to ask myself some series of questions like, do I really need this thing? Will it bring me long-term value and happiness? Then I also allow myself to stay for 24 hours before purchasing anything. With that, I can know if it is something that I really need or I'm just buying it on impulse. Also, I set a budget for myself and then try my possible best to stick to that budget. I say things like, if this thing is more than my budget, I say that this is not in my budget or this is way above my budget, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Another habit that kept me really broke for a long time is excessive spending on gadgets. I used to have this habit of excessively spending on gadgets, whether I may or may not need it at a time. I remember a certain time when I used to have this great obsession for an iPhone, and I obsessed over it for a very long time until I finally got it. Even though I really didn't need it, but I still got it. And I could remember that immediately I made payments for it, I started feeling down. I should be happy because this is something that I've obsessed over for a long time, and finally I am getting it. But rather, reverse was the case. I was feeling down. I was so sad about it. Like, this is something I should be happy about, but I was really feeling sad. And when I finally took it home, I didn't even use it for days. It was just there. It was just lying there off. When I finally put it on, I didn't even insert a SIM card or anything. Like, that great feeling that I thought that I would be so happy when I get it, but I didn't get to feel that way. And as at this time, I had an Android that was very new and the latest model that was functioning very properly. I also had a smaller phone, but I still wanted an iPhone just for the fact that, okay, I had one. I could go on and on about several devices that I got out of impulse. For example, there was also another time that I wanted a MiFi just for the sake of having it, and I got it and I don't use it. I also needed a smartwatch at a time, but I'm telling you that from when I got that smartwatch, I'm not sure that I've actually worn it out. I could go on and on about gadgets and devices that I so much obsessed over, and after I got them, I didn't really feel what I thought I was supposed to feel after getting it. And I think one of the issues with me obsessing over those stuff were like, should I say social media. Sometimes I could just see something with somebody, or I could just see something on the TV, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and before you know it, that obsession has started, and I'll obsess over it for a long time that it will be all that I think of. It took me a while to overcome this, but when I finally did, I started by learning the value of what I already have instead of constantly chasing what is out there, and then after getting it, I don't derive that pleasure in it. Just like me, there are many people out there as well that are obsessed over gadgets. Some, it is the fact that they want to have the latest phone, the latest laptop, the latest accessory whatsoever. And the thing with these accessories, these phones, these gadgets is that they keep coming every year. There is an upgrade, there is a new one. So how long are you going to keep getting a new one? I mean, from iPhone 11, we got the 11 Pro to the 11 Pro Max to the 12, the 13, the 14. Then the 14 was released last year, and before you know it, there will be a 15. So how long are you going to keep upgrading your gadget? The best thing is to just learn the value, learn to appreciate the one you already have, as long as it is serving you properly. Another habit that kept me really broke for a long time is unplanned subscriptions. You see those gaming services, those music, those movie streaming services. It may seem small at a time, but over a period of time, it is actually a huge sum of money that you are spending on these devices. And for me, at that time, what I was doing is that I had Netflix, I had Showmax, I had Amazon Prime. I mean, these are three good streaming services, but why subscribe to the three when you can subscribe to one? Subscribing to the three, you necessarily do not have all the time. Even if you don't have anything doing and you're just sitting at home all day, I bet you cannot see all the movies on these three streaming platforms. Also, as at then, I also signed up to music platforms. I had the Boomplay, I had the Spotify, the Audiomack, the Apple Music. All of these, they are serving the same purposes, but for the fact that I derive pleasure in subscribing to these platforms, whereas I could just subscribe to one, or better still, even use the free version. And the worst part of all of this is that the payments are automatic. Even if I told myself that, oh, this month I'm not going to subscribe to so platform, but before I know it, the money has already been removed, and I'll tell myself, okay, before the next one I would unsubscribe. But what happens? The next one comes and then it is being taken off again, and continuously, and before you know it, those habits are keeping me broke. So what I did is that when I started taking my finances seriously, I first went to all of these platforms and unsubscribed from them. And presently, I just have only one of which I use at a time, but not all the time, of which I'm still planning to unsubscribe from. It can be hard to stop this habit of actually subscribing to many streaming platforms, but with careful planning, with discipline, and then actually sitting yourself down to actually do these things, you can stop the habit. And the fourth habit that kept me broke for a really long time, and I know that it is also keeping many people broke, is eating out frequently. I used to love the convenience of eating out frequently. I mean, I still do right now. But when you do it frequently and then consistently for a long time, then it dips a hole in your pocket and eats you deep financially. When I had a session with myself financially and checked all the money that I spent eating out, I realized that this is a habit that I really need to stop. What I did was to start planning my meals and cooking at home more often. Also, I started making those meals that enticed me outside. If it were a certain type of meal that I didn't know how to prepare but always loved eating it outside, I began to learn how to make these meals at home, because it was a more way to save money than eating out frequently. And I realized that planning meals in advance and buying also in bulk to prepare these meals helped to save a large chunk of my money. But don't get me wrong, I still enjoy eating out, and I actually do from time to time, but I now budget for it and it doesn't have to be a constant thing. Another habit that kept me really broke for a long time was poor shopping habit. I used to love shopping and buying new stuff, but I didn't really know how much this was adding to my expenses. And it wasn't until I started tracking my expenses that I realized that a lot of money was going into shopping for things that I really didn't need at the time. So what I did was to become mindful of my expenses whenever I am shopping. And then I started making a budget whenever I am getting things. And this has helped me to curb unnecessary expenses and letting me to buy only things that I actually needed. Now, you may necessarily be in that position, and I know that it is tough because we usually get this instant gratification for getting new things. But by being patient and delaying gratifications at times, we may help curb the habit of unnecessary shopping. Another habit I will be talking about today is lack of negotiation skills. I used to be very shy or timid to negotiate prices, and then I end up overspending for an item. I'll be told a particular price, and then without negotiation, I just pay for it and I end up spending more than I am supposed to. And it wasn't until I learned the habit of negotiation that I realized that I was leaving lots of money on the table by not negotiating prices. To overcome this habit, what I did was to start practicing negotiation in anything and everything. Whatever price I'm being told, I would negotiate it to the last without feeling shy or without feeling that, okay, this person I'm negotiating with, I'm trying to eat into that person's profit, because that's what I actually thought, that okay, I'm just being told the price and let me not just negotiate, let me pay for it. But I'm dipping into my own finances instead of negotiating and getting the real price for items. As I wrap up this video, I want to speak to anyone who may be struggling with their finances right now. I know how hard it can be to break free from old habits and make some real progresses towards your financial well-being, but I promise you that if you can actually do it, then it will be worth it. I'm not saying it is easy. It takes hard work, it takes dedication, it takes discipline to change your old money habits, but it is possible and you can do it. I hope that these tips and strategies that I've shared in this video have actually been very helpful to you in helping to break free from old money habits that are keeping you broke. So don't give up, keep pushing, and always believe in yourself. Thanks for watching, and I wish you the best in your financial journey. See you at the top.